All right, so we're a month into this SR5 TRD off-road double cab. We were coming from a 2022 TRD Pro that was absolutely fully loaded. What's our thoughts? Have we settled in? Is there some regret? Let's talk. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome to the Tundra Dude 34 YouTube channel. So, here we are. We're sitting in this truck, 2023 Toyota Tundra, double cab, the small cab. 1 month ago today, I bought this truck coming from a TRD Pro, as I said in the intro. Now, dropping down from that level of features and capability into this, what are the thoughts? The reason we did this, in case you're new to the channel, is the TRD Pro was just too much money every month. So I wanted to come down into something a little bit cheaper, and we went with the double cab SR5 for two reasons. Number one, the SR5, it's the most popular trim. It's what the everyday normal person buys when they can't afford a $90,000 vehicle. We went with the double cab because it's something nobody has out there and nobody's talking about. And I wanted to show you folks, before you spend your money, is this something you should do to save a few $1,000s from the CrewMax? So that is the reason we did what we did here. Now, this one we're sitting in was $57,000. This is a fully loaded SR5 double cab. We have the 20-inch wheel and tire package from the TRD Off-Road 1794 Unlimited. If you get normal, the TRD Off-Road on the SR5, it's an 18-inch wheel and tire package. So we got the nice setup there. It has the premium audio in it. It has everything you could get in the SR5 before moving up into the Limited. So we are nicely loaded, coming from a $71,000 MSRP TRD Pro to this $57,000. There still is a lot of features, not a lot lost, but we will talk about it. I have a 1 month pro and con list I want to go over with you, and hopefully this helps point you in the right direction. And also at the end, a slight message for you as someone who's driven pretty much all of the Tundras in the new generation, as far as Capstone, TRD Pro, Limited, this SR5. Hopefully I can help you. Once again, spend your money in a way you will not feel any regret at the end. So let me go over my short list here of pros and cons, and then don't forget to go down in the comments below and hit that subscribe button, because we're going to be reviewing this truck over and over again as we go, talking about the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly. And as you know, we love to do dealership walks on this channel, so we're going to go visit the dealerships weekly, bi-weekly, depending on inventory, and talk about everything out there, price, features. Welcome aboard if you are new. So let's start with some pros about this truck. Number one, this truck has everything I need and the stuff that I want. Being in this new generation is something different from the old generation because, and I've stated this many times, the SR5 can be built up the way you want. Now this one is fully loaded, but if you didn't want to spend this kind of money, or you didn't want some of the features in here, you can lower it down in the SR5, save a bunch of money, and get things like the smaller screen. You don't need to have the soft text like this has. You could have fabric seats. You don't need to have the heated seat feature. There's a lot of things you can take off the truck to get it to do whatever you need to do. You don't need the TRD off-road package. So there's a lot of ways to kind of make this the way you want it. Now, I do like features. I do like some stuff, and that's why I did it the way I have it set up here. $57,000. I don't feel like I've lost too much coming from the TRD Pro as far as coming from all of those features, because the TRD Pro definitely had a lot more features. I mean, you could just look at the $13,000, $14,000 difference in price, and you could see from that right away just by looking at the number. But this thing has everything in it that I would ever need in a truck, so I'm definitely happy with that. So that's definitely number one. Everything you need to use for a truck. And if you want, it has all the stuff you may want in it as well, but you can make this SR5 the way you want it to be. So if you look around at your dealership lots, or maybe expand your search on something like autotrader.com, you're going to find a dealership that has a Tundra built the way you may want. Once again, smaller screen, fabric seats, or like this, soft text, giant screen, premium audio. All up to you. So look around, they are out there. That is number one for my pros. Number two is just everything about the driving experience. I was worried when I was coming from the TRD Pro. I was coming from the iForce Max, okay? This is an SR5. They don't have an iForce Max for the SR5. So I was coming down back into the iForce, a little less horsepower, a little less torque. So I was worried that the driving experience would be something that maybe be undesirable for me. But to be honest with you, I couldn't be happier. The truck gets up and goes nicely. And as I said in last generation, the double cab always feels slightly different from the CrewMax. It just feels like the handling, the driving of the truck, it just feels a little bit lighter, and it gets down the road nicely. 10-speed transmission in these new generation Tundras flows beautifully with the regular iForce engine. So I in no way regret going down into the iForce engine from the iForce Max. Is the iForce Max fun? Absolutely. The thing gets up and goes from a stop like nobody's business. And this one does as well. Not as fast as that, but the best part about this with the driving experience is, for me at least, coming from the iForce Max, the braking. Now, don't forget, with the hybrid system that is on the iForce Max, you have a brake regen situation going on. So when you hit the brakes, you kind of feel the truck jolting a little bit, all right, because it's charging up the battery. Here, we don't have a battery. All right, there's no hybrid system in this. It's just a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6. So the brakes are so smooth. There's no brake dive. Handling, braking, driving experience with this truck, top notch. Do I have any regrets going to the iForce? Not at all. Did I think I would? Absolutely. So that's a big win and a big pro, and I will keep you up to date on that, but I don't feel like that's going to change into a con anytime soon because the truck is super fast and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. Now here's a pro I know you guys want to keep your eyes on and see how I feel over time, and that is the cabin comfort. All right, I want to talk about a few things in here, especially being that this is a double cab. It is the smaller cab for the Tundra. Number one, and I've been saying this since the beginning of the new generation, insanely comfortable seats. Doesn't matter if you get fabric, doesn't matter if you get Softex, doesn't matter if you get the genuine leather in the 1794 Platinum or Capstone. The seating design is amazing. Good bolstering, very comfortable. You sit down into the seat versus on top of it. Some of the older gen Tundras, it almost felt like you slid around all the time. You sit down in the seat very nicely. So overall, the seating comfort is amazing. As far as space up here, just like the Crew Max, same exact thing, a lot of space. Now, because you have the center console and the infotainment screen and the shifter, you're completely separated from all the other seating areas in the truck, which I do prefer. Some people don't like that. The old school Tundra had available a 6-seater where there was just an opening there. I like to be completely separate, but one thing that people worry about when you have a complete area, like your own little cockpit area, is you won't have enough space for your legs. It'll get tight. This has a ton of space, no issues, no problem with that at all. So comfort in here up front, headroom, everything is great. You could always lower the seat down if you're not happy with the headroom. Love it up here. As far as the back seat goes, and this is something for you guys out there that if you're looking Crew Max, double cab, don't know which way to go. If you're gonna have a passenger back there, every once in a while, this is a good way to save a little bit of money. Excuse me. If you're gonna have someone back there all the time, just go Crew Max, because there's not a lot of room. And for me, for my space, I throw stuff back there all the time. Gear, golf clubs, stuff like that. I don't have a lot of rear seat passengers. So if I have a buddy and we're going somewhere, I could throw them back there no problem for a short trip or for a trip every once in a while. But if I'm having people back there all the time, say you have a big family and you're gonna have a 2 or 3 seater back there, you're gonna wanna get the Crew Max. But for me, this saves a few $1,000s, and that's how I use the seat. I do implore all of you to go and open the doors and sit in a double cab. Don't make any purchases without going to actually test drive the truck and sit in the truck to see what you think. Also with the Crew Max as well. See if you really need all that back seat space. Now the difference for new generation versus old generation is if you do need that Crew Max, but you want that 6.5 foot bed, in the new generation, you could do that as well. Old generation, if you wanted the 6.5 foot bed, you had to go to the double cab. So now you have that option, but smaller back seat, 6.5 foot bed, truck drives like a dream, so it's got to be a pro for me. And now we move on to the cons list after 1 month. I don't have many cons, but I do have a couple that I do want to talk about with you. And number one is the Toyota subscriptions. I'm not a huge fan of the way they do this. Now, when you sign up for the truck, you have to go through and basically start a trial run on all the subscriptions in here. It gives you the Toyota app, you get the remote start, shows you all the information on your truck, you get the navigation system, and the trial can be a year, 3 years, or 10 years, depending on which feature we're talking about. Now, one issue with me, when I read the disclaimer before I hit accept to that, and I know the way the world works and everything, but basically it says that Toyota's gonna look at your, everything you do as far as driving. They have a driver score in there now where they talk about harsh braking, hard acceleration, just basically taking in all the information on the truck as per what you do as far as your driving habits and driving style and all of that. So I always say no to that. Now the problem is if you say no, you don't get any of it. So now this truck doesn't have the remote start feature. I don't have the navigation in here. I don't have any of those trial subscriptions. that are free up front. So I lost all of that because I said no. Now, here's the thing. There's a good chance that all that information is still being sent to wherever it has to go. But I still couldn't find myself saying yes to it. And that has been the way the last couple of Tundras for me. With the subscription-based stuff, I'm not a huge fan. I wish a feature would either come with the truck or not come with the truck. Like back in the day, if I wanted remote start, this would have to have a remote start system in it. I know it's in here because it works with the subscription, but that's going to be a con for me. I don't like the subscription services, and that's not just a Toyota thing. All the brands are doing subscriptions now. So I had to put that on the con list. That will remain on the con list. That's not coming off of it. Number two, this truck, because it is the non-hybrid system, it has auto stop start. Now, I will give a couple of high fives to Toyota and some of the other brands that do that out there. Naturally, I start the truck every day. I turn off the auto stop start. But if you forget to, when you start to go down the road and say you stop at a traffic light, the system will actually tell you, hey, you didn't activate the off auto stop start. So it gives you a chance to do it instead of just shutting off, turning back on, shutting off, turning back on. The system actually tells you, hey, you didn't shut it off. So if you want to do it, you should probably do that now. So the con is that we still have to hit that button all the time. The pro of that con, if that makes sense, is the system actually tells you up front, hey, you didn't turn this off yet. Now's your chance to do it before we start being at a traffic light and the vehicle stopping and starting every time you move up. So pro/con. Now I'm gonna have to read off my phone for this one. I put it in the con list, but I wanna go over each feature. The con is the loss of features coming from that 2022 TRD Pro. I wanna show you some of the features that I did lose and if it matters to me at all, because everyone's gonna be a little bit different here. So number one is inside the cabin, everything in the TRD Pro was soft touch, and now it's gone to plastic. Does that bother me? Not so much, because there still is a little soft touch, like up here on the doors, down here on the handle by where the window features are and all that. But the plastic really started to emerge on the dashboard. Across the dash in the TRD Pro, it was all soft touch, a leather feel. Now it is hard plastic all the way across. So that's one thing that I definitely noticed when I got into this, because some people were complaining about too much plastic. And I remember being in the Pro being like, there's not much in here. But when I came down into the SR5, I saw what everybody meant there. JBL sound system, I thought I would miss that a little bit, but because this is a double cab, it really resonates the sound nicely because it's smaller in here. So I don't necessarily miss it. What's the difference between the JBL and this regular system? I feel like this system has a little less bass. It's the sound is not as thick, if that makes sense. Now, if you play with the audio controls, you could get it very close, and I was able to do that to get it into an enjoyable spot. But that's something to note when you go no JBL. Sounds a little bit different, and you got to work a little harder to like it. Do I miss it? Sure. Can I live without it? Absolutely. Next is the iForce Max, which we talked about. Fun engine. Not a fan of the braking with that engine. Do I highly recommend it still? Absolutely. The thing is a blast. It's as close to a supercharged Tundra that I've ever felt since owning a supercharged Tundra last generation on a 2017 Platinum. A lot of fun with that engine. But this iForce does just fine for me. And there are going to be people who go from the iForce Max to the iForce and say, nope, I don't like the difference. I'm going back to the Max if you test drive a few different ones. But that's going to be, objective to each person. To me, this is fine. iForce Max is awesome. Still highly recommend it. Pano roof, I'm good. I don't even need a regular moonroof. I used to be a big moonroof guy, saying I want one. But as I started to have them on my Tundras, I just don't use them. And the panel roof that was on the Pro, I probably opened the shade 5 or 6 times and opened the moonroof maybe once or twice. I just don't need it as much as I thought I may use it. So not having it and saving a couple bucks, totally into that. Premium headlights, all right? So this doesn't have the premium headlights, and I will tell you up front, the way the truck looks on the TRD Pro when the lights are on with it has the marker lights in the middle, not even talking about the light bar that comes on the Pro, and the headlights with the premium headlights, and it has like the daytime running strip underneath. It looked really cool. On this one, the lights are different. They're not premium. It has a different look up front, but it still is a good look with the headlights on. As far as the performance of the headlights, they're just as good as the other ones. I'm sure, if we're sitting here, next to each other with the premium headlights and these headlights, you'll see a different. But for me, coming from premium to this, they still do the job just fine. One thing that some people may consider a con, that I consider a giant pro, is the lower trims, like this one, non-premium headlight, have the manual leveling for the light beams that you do yourself, okay? So if you're towing a heavy load and it's pulling the back of the truck down, you can lower your beam so you're not blinding everybody. Now, in the higher trims, that is an auto leveling feature. It takes care of it itself. They're always moving to keep you level. But I still saw some times where I had like a little Honda Civic in front of me and I was blinding them. So I like the fact that I can level it down myself. So for me, that actually is something I prefer, the auto leveling, or excuse me, the manual leveling, just like we had in the last generation. There were sequential turn signals on the Pro and they're not on this. I don't care. As long as the vehicle behind me sees that I'm turning, I'm good. I think that's more of a novelty feature. But yeah, so I don't care about that, but that is a thing that was on the Pro and is not on this anymore. Wireless charger. I don't have to spend too much time on this because you guys know I hate the wireless charger. This has the area with no wireless charger, so now I can sit my phone there nicely and bring the plug right up to it, and it's plugged in and everybody's happy. No problems. So if you've ever had trouble with your wireless charger, and I've heard of people have trouble and not. Me, every time I hit a bump, it would break the charge. Other people tell me, never had that problem. I took the case off and everything was fine. I'd much rather this, just plug it in, no big deal. The other one is, this has heated seats, okay, in here. In the Pro, it had heated, ventilated, and memory seats. I don't have any of that other than the heated feature. Ventilated seats were really nice. I sweat when I eat, so, you know, the more the merrier with cooling me down, but I could just open a window. I won't miss it. Memory seats I never used. It's either me or the wife, 99% me. So if she gets in, she just moves up the seat and off she goes. So that's not something we're gonna miss as well. Those are the main features. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of stuff, but those are the ones that mean the most to me. Let me know what you think in the comments below about each of those. Can you live with losing that? Don't forget, once again, said this a few times, I wanna make sure you get the point. TRD Pro MSRP was $71,000. This is $57,000 the way that it's loaded up. So we came down in price a little. When you come down in price that much, you gotta lose a little bit here and there. One thing I do want to bring up, and this is neither a Pro or a con, I thought going from the wheel and tire setup on the TRD Pro, which was an 18-inch BBS wheel, Falcon Wild Peak tire, and I'm coming down into, like I said, the 1794 Unlimited TRD off-road setup, which is a 20-inch wheel and a lot skinnier sidewall of a tire. I thought the ride would be a lot more harsh and a lot more bumpy, and it's just not the case. Does it feel different from the TRD Pro Fox suspension to this Bilstein suspension? Absolutely. Can you feel the bumps a little bit more? Does it ride over those bumps as nice? Not as bad. Is it harsh? Is it undesirable? The big negative on that. Drives just fine. You just feel a little bit more of the road under you, which again is no big deal. But with that skinnier sidewall tire, I thought it would be a lot worse. So write this in your notes if you're going out there to buy something. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. So keep that one in mind. And the bottom line, and this is the point of me doing this video, the next update on this truck will be 3 months, okay? But I wanted to give you that 1 month update to see if all of that new has worn off and we are now settled into it. What are we thinking? This is the bottom line, and I want you to take this with you. This is all the truck you need, all right? Higher trims are where you add the wants. So the SR5 does everything you need the truck to do. And now you can get the features you want in it as well. So this is where everyone should start looking. The wants start to come in these higher trims. 1794 with the Western theme, genuine leather, heated cooled seats, black headliner, pano roof. Limited, you could start building features. iForce Max starts in the Limited. Capstone is the Denali of the Tundra line. That's where you start adding in those little creature comforts that you want. But the SR5 is the workhorse of the trims, along with the SR, which is more of a work fleet style truck. But this is where you start to be able to do what you want with the truck as far as little features here and there, but still have that workhorse of the Tundra line. Going up in the trims is where you start getting those insane comfort creatures that you're gonna pay for. So this truck is all you need and some of the stuff you want, and the wants are way higher. So I hope that helps you. That is 1 month with this beautiful SR5 double cab TRD off-road that I'm madly in love with. Driven a lot of different new generation Tundras, and I've always liked them, but nothing ever hit with me where I felt like I needed to have it forever. This truck, I feel like I need to have forever. I'm in love with this. I can't believe it took all those high-end Tundras to land right back into an SR5, but this is where I want to be. So overall, I'm very happy with this truck. Let me know what you think about the pros and cons in the comments below. Till next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at TundraDude34, TundraDude34 at gmail.com. You guys have a great day. Be safe and be well.